So Donald Trump just made this post a couple hours ago saying, "Happy Crypto Week. The House will soon vote on a tremendous bill to make America the undisputed #1 leader in digital assets, the Genius Act." He also said digital assets are the future and we are leading by a lot. And the results are officially in. 210 Democrats plus 13 Republicans all voted against advancing the Genius Act, the Clarity Act, and the Anti-CBDC Act, and 196 Republicans voted to advance it. So not a single Democrat is pro-crypto or anti-CBDC. And if you guys have been subscribed to the channel, we've been covering the crypto market every single day. And in this video, I have some powerful information to share with you. If you hold Ripple's XRP, Bitcoin, Ethereum, or virtually any altcoin, because with Bitcoin's price action mirroring gold, similar to what happened back in 2024, when gold broke upwards of $2,000 to $3,000, we have to break down Bitcoin to the US dollar price chart and 5 bullish divergences that just flashed. So I'm going to discuss exactly what that means based on every single bullish divergence in the past for Bitcoin, and expectations moving forward for XRP to Bitcoin's price chart, what's happening with massive corporations and XRP on their balance sheet, when will the SEC announce the end of the Ripple lawsuit, a Ripple XRP ETF approved from the New York Stock Exchange, and a documented summary to help you understand how ISO20022, Volante, and Ripple are changing the financial game. Plus, if you guys stick all the way to the end of this video, we're going to compare XRP and the US dollar price chart back to the past. We're talking about CPI data that just came in, what this means for the United States inflation, how this affected crypto back in 2021, when inflation rose from 1.4% all the way to 9.1%, and one altcoin that is undervalued compared to Bitcoin. And when this altcoin makes the next major move up, it will trigger the green light for the bulls to step in and absolutely pump the altcoin market. Plus, if you guys want to learn how to be able to earn passive income on your crypto, then stick around to the end of this video. I know you're going to absolutely love it because you're going to learn exactly what the institutions do to be able to maximize their upside while minimizing their downside throughout the rest of this bull run. So comment 777 if you're feeling blessed, if you're feeling bullish, and if you're going to become the first millionaire in your family tree, confirm it by tapping the subscribe button. Let's run it. Hey, what's up, my friend? Nick here. Quick heads up for all you smart investors watching this. If you love to see your crypto actually working for you, earning passive income every single day on your coins, we're putting together something really cool. On July 20th, we're running our first ever free online event challenge. It's called the Crypto Passive Cash Flow Challenge. And it's basically 3 days where you'll learn our DeFi strategies we use to safely earn passive yield on our coins 24/7, even while we sleep. And some people are doing crazy numbers with this strategy alone. And if you had some coins that you're just holding on to, you should join us and discover how to put them to work. We've never done anything like this publicly before, and we probably won't ever do it again. So it's completely free, but we might have to limit spots to keep the quality high and give everyone proper attention with the size of our YouTube channel, over 360,000 subscribers now. So if you want in, just click the link below this video, grab your spot while you can, and now back to the video. All right, bull runners, welcome back to the channel. So with this news about voting against the Genius Act, Clarity Act, and Anti-CBDC Act, everyone wants to know, how negative is this really for the crypto market? Because with Bitcoin pulling back a little bit, sitting at $117,000 right now, XRP just shy of $3. The main thing that we need to focus on is price action on the chart, because yes, expected to have some short-term volatility, especially after a massive breakout like this in the market. Well, in my previous videos, you guys saw me compare Bitcoin to gold and what happened when gold broke out, had some volatility before continuing higher. The main thing that we need to look at on Bitcoin's price chart is the divergence from any indicator. And you could load this up on your TradingView account. It's the divergence from any indicator version 4 by Lonesome. And depending on what time frame you're on, it'll show you how many divergences show up on the chart on different indicators like the MACD, the histogram, the RSI, CMF, or CCI. And as you can see right here on the 15th of July, 5 bullish divergences came in. Now, a bullish divergence compared to a bearish divergence are reversal signals. So when you see this pop up in yellow, it's actually a bullish reversal signal. When you see this indicator pop up in purple, it's a bearish reversal indicator. And as you can see, the past few times that we've had these bullish divergences come in here, we've seen short-term reversals back to the upside when it flashes yellow. So on the histogram, we saw one right here. Bitcoin bounced a little bit in the short term before continuing further down. So what we want to look for is confluence across multiple indicators for multiple divergences. So the fact that we saw 5 recently is a pretty bullish sign. And sure enough, Bitcoin bounced from 115 to 117. And now Bitcoin sits right in between resistance at $118,000 and support at $115,700. So if we look back to the past and we see how many times 5 or more bullish divergences came in, what happened? Well, the most recent time was all the way back here on the 8th of July when Bitcoin was at $107,000. Bitcoin bounced to the upside and consolidated between 109 and 108 before continuing higher upwards of 111 and then consolidating for a little bit and then inevitably breaking all the way up to new all-time highs. That's actually a really good sign for what's to come. Now, if we scroll back a little bit further, we can see tons of bullish divergences right here. Well, we see on the histogram the RSI, MOM, MOM, OBV, and CMF, 5 bullish divergences flashed. Bitcoin bounced from 106,800 all the way up here to 107 for a short-term recovery and then sold off further to the downside. And then continued to flash these bullish divergences where there were 3 right here, Bitcoin would bounce and sell off further, 2 right here, Bitcoin would bounce and sell off further, and 4 bullish divergences right here. Then Bitcoin made a recovery to the upside and broke out. So it's not conclusive that this sell-off in this whole consolidation phase to find a low for Bitcoin is done just yet. But nonetheless, this is a very powerful indicator because when you guys see 5 bullish divergences, it is a strong indicator that Bitcoin is going to bounce in the short term. So if I were to just take the bars pattern from each of these times that 5 bullish divergences were flashed, the past 3 times this took place, and put it up to where Bitcoin is right now, the most recent time, we saw a bounce, short-term consolidation, and then Bitcoin continuing higher. Another time we saw Bitcoin bounce in the short term, consolidate, experience another low, and then break out from there to continue higher. And then the third time we saw Bitcoin bounce in the short term, continue lower for a lower low, and then break out higher. So nonetheless, I think the most likely case scenario for Bitcoin is to range for a little bit. We could potentially experience a lower low on the price chart, but inevitably I would expect Bitcoin to break out higher. And we need to watch these key indicators for confluence as well too, for when we're in oversold conditions if Bitcoin does continue a little bit lower. Because right now the stochastic RSI is right in the middle of a range at 49.44 for the K line and the D line. The relative strength index is at 45. We're neither overbought over 70 or oversold below 30 for the RSI, and we're neither overbought above 80 or oversold below 20 for the stochastic RSI. So we're neither bullish nor bearish, and so most likely case scenario is for us to range sideways. Now stick to the end of this video and I'll share with you what our research team does during times like this, which is a crab market where Bitcoin goes sideways or potentially a little bit lower before breaking higher. Because right now, if we just look at the XRP to the Bitcoin price chart, we can see right here on the 27th of June, 4 bullish divergences flashed for XRP and we broke to the upside. So we are just starting the first initial wave of XRP outperforming Bitcoin on the daily chart. Now, if we zoom into the 1-hour chart, we can actually see that 7 bearish divergence indicators just recently flashed today. So on the 1-hour chart, this is actually bearish for XRP compared to Bitcoin. And we could see XRP cool off in the short term compared to Bitcoin on the hourly chart. Now, in my video yesterday, I talked about how XRP's dominance compared to the rest of the industry, I expect to explode by the end of this year. But in the short term, in the day-to-day over the next 1 to 2 weeks, I talked about in another previous video how I expect XRP to experience some volatility and just range here between resistance and support on the XRP, the US dollar price chart, potentially experiencing a short-term pullback. And that would look like XRP to Bitcoin's price chart pulling back for a little bit or consolidating sideways because we've seen 7 bearish divergences come in on the hourly chart for the divergence for many indicator. So don't let that scare you in the short term because that's just a better opportunity to accumulate more XRP rather than just FOMOing in on massive breakouts like this. Because as of this month, Thumbs Up Media Corporation, emerging leader in crypto asset strategies, announced that its board of directors has authorized management to begin accumulating XRP, Ethereum, Solana, Litecoin, Dogecoin, and USDC. And they're a major Bitcoin treasury firm. And right here on their official website, they're saying they're considering Dogecoin and XRP buys. And this company spent $148 billion on digital display ads in the US in 2023. So they're a pretty decent sized company. Now, why would it be smart for institutions and major companies and hedge funds to accumulate XRP, and why has XRP been rallying? Well, it's because of this rumor that's being spread, where the SEC may announce the end of the Ripple case on July 17th, just 2 days from right now. So will the SEC make this announcement on Thursday in their closed door meeting? For me personally, I highly doubt it, but at some point it's coming, it's inevitable because the SEC waved the white flag. Gary Gensler stepped down, Paul Atkins, new SEC chair, is pro-crypto. So it's only a matter of time. It's already a done deal. They're just dragging this out, and the SEC is ready to move forward. According to this official SEC filing that's been confirmed by the New York Stock Exchange yesterday, saying to whom it may concern, the NYSE New York Stock Exchange certifies its approval for listing and registration of the ProShares Ultra XRP ETF, which is a major win for XRP. So here's a documented summary about what took place yesterday with the ISO standard. So ISO20022 is the new global messaging standard for financial transactions for banks. It allows for richer data, better interoperability, and faster payment processing across institutions worldwide, basically speeding up ACH wire transfers from days to seconds. Now, Ripple was the first distributed ledger technology company to join the ISO standards body, basically influencing the whole entire messaging standard. This gives Ripple a seat at the table as traditional finance modernizes its messaging infrastructure. Now, in one of my previous videos a few days ago, I talked about how Volante and Ripple have a partnership since 2015 where VolPay suite used by global banks that was launched in 2015 through VolPay Hub and Ripple, allowing banks to process payments using RippleNet. Then in 2016, Volante released an upgraded Ripple solution as part of its VolPay Foundation to support real-time cross-border payments. So Volante confirmed that banks are using its platform, can settle payments in XRP, the native token of Ripple. And at Swift CBOS 2015, Volante showcased its Ripple-ready integration, now part of its broader VolPay product suite. This means banks using Volante can already access RippleNet and XRP, making cross-border settlements faster, cheaper, and blockchain compatible. So to understand the scale of this, Fedwire is the US government's core payment rail, processing over $1 quadrillion in transactions and transfers in 2022 alone. For decades, payment innovation was stagnant from ACH in the 1970s to real-time payments in 2017, just recently. And in 2023, the FedNow system launched, joining real-time payments to allow 24/7 real-time payments. So this massive volume on legacy rails like Fedwire is ripe for disruption, and integration with solutions like Ripple and Volante positions XRP to potentially capture even a fraction of that 1 quadrillion market. So what this means in summary is that Ripple is officially part of the ISO 20022 modernization wave as the first blockchain company, a part of their standards body. Volante connects financial institutions to RippleNet, enabling XRP settlement. And as real-time systems like FedNow emerge, blockchain-based assets like XRP are going to become the key players in future money movement. So the potential for XRP to tap into the global quadrillion-dollar payment flows is no longer theoretical. It's technically possible, and it's already in motion. And Ripple and XRP are going to be capturing a percentage of that market. And it doesn't even need to capture that much of the market because XRP's market cap is $173 billion. If just $100 billion in buy volume comes in, it doesn't just 2x XRP. It catapults XRP even further because previous holders that bought all the way down here between 30, 40, 50 cents, well, the value of their portfolios becomes larger, which boosts the market cap even more. So because the market cap of XRP is $170 billion, if $170 billion comes in buy volume, it won't just 2x the market cap. It could like 3x, 5x it. I don't know exactly how much it'll grow up by multiples, but it's way more than a 2x because of how liquidity flows. Now, that's not a guarantee because there's still some regulation that needs to take place. As you guys can see, Democrats are not pro-crypto and they did not pass this bill. So I'd expect XRP to experience some volatility, like I talked about in my previous video, between $3 and $2.65 to squat within this range. And go figure, this news drops right at the same time that XRP experiences major rally and the stochastic RSI is in major overbought conditions. On the daily chart on the right-hand side of the screen, you can see the K line and the D line are at 97 and 93, experiencing a bearish cross. The relative strength index here on the bottom right-hand side of the screen is at 77 overbought conditions. So people that are buying into XRP on this rally right now are going to be in for a rude awakening if XRP pulls all the way back to $2.65. Because if you look back to the past, this is like clockwork, guys. The best times to accumulate XRP, again, not financial advice, do what you want. I'm not telling you to sell XRP. I'm not telling you to buy XRP either. I'm just showing you the facts on the charts and also explain what the smartest investors in the world do based on these facts. Look at what happened here between May of 2017 and December 2017 during this whole entire consolidation phase between roughly 12 cents, 13 cents, and 40 cents for XRP. We had periods where XRP would break out, pull back, break out, pull back, break out, pull back, and then explosion to the upside. So everyone wants to know when this major explosion to the upside is going to take place because people think it's happening right now with this major move for XRP. But let's just look at the facts and let's look for confluence here. So when XRP broke out from the low of about 12.7 cents right here and rallied all the way up to about 30 cents, I talked about this on the price chart from $1.60 right here. And I said, watch, XRP will most likely break out and then we'll get rejected from roughly $2.50 to $3 max. And sure enough, we get about $2.68 and we pulled all the way back down here. very similar to what happened back here in the past from August of 2017 to September of 2017, forming a higher low. On the right-hand side of the screen, same thing happened for XRP. We formed a higher low. Now look at the key indicators right here. What happened on the stochastic and the relative strength index? Well, we formed a bearish cross right here. And on the relative, we pulled back from 71 all the way down here to 38. And the stochastic RSI reset all the way down here closer to 0. This is what I would want to see happen to accumulate more XRP, is a reset on these key indicators. Because back here in May of 2025, that's exactly what we saw. I was talking about XRP when the stochastic was all the way up here above 80 and we experienced a bearish cross. Also, look at the relative strength index. We were at 68. Sure enough, on that pullback, we reset all the way down here. Sure, we saw a short-term bounce, but then we came all the way back down again. The relative strength index bottomed out at around 34, 35. And now look at what's happening. The RSI is all the way up here at 77. The stochastic is all the way up here at 97 and 93. So what I would want to see is on this pullback and consolidation for XRP, depending on how deep it goes in the short term, I would want to see the stochastic RSI reset all the way down here below 20, closer to 0, and the relative strength index to come back down closer to 30 or 40. This is what I would want to see. And I don't care what happens on the price chart or how low that puts XRP, because I need to see confluence across these two major indicators right here, because that's exactly what we've seen happen multiple times in the past. And it gives you the most likely case scenario to get a better entry point. Because look at what happened here from about 15 cents to 30 cents not last bull run, the bull run prior to that. XRP broke out again. Look at where the stochastic RSI was when XRP came all the way up into the zone as resistance. It rallied all the way up here, close to 100 again. The relative strength index comes all the way upwards of 70. And then guess what happens? Like clockwork, bearish cross. We reset all the way down here, closer to 0. Price pulls back again. The indicators pull back. We reset back down to previous levels that we were at prior to the breakout, forming another higher low, coiling up even more. And then rinse and repeat the cycle again before a major breakout. So $3 is the major resistance right now. Unless XRP clears $3 and holds it as support, in the short term, I'm expecting XRP to go sideways or down while these indicators reset. Watch this. And I'll bring this up over the next few weeks, and I'll show you what happens on the stochastic RSI, because there has never been a time in history where the stochastic RSI has come above 100 and has never come back down again. Ever. This is a 100% guarantee here that the stochastic RSI will reset. Now, what that looks like on the price chart will vary, and how deep will that pullback be? We shall see, but the best investing strategy is to watch these key indicators and look for confluence. While the RSI resets and the stochastic resets, that would either mean the price chart consolidating sideways or pulling back a little bit further to back test like $2.65. And then ultimately, I would expect XRP to break out, like I've mentioned over the past 3 years, towards the tail end of this year. So when we also look at CPI data, well, inflation ticked upwards into June to 2.7%. If we look right here, back in April, we were at 2.3, May, we were at 2.4, and now we're at 2.7%. Well, look at what happened in the past when inflation started to tick up. Well, this was after November of 2020. We went from 1.2, 1.4, then by February 2021, 1.7. Then we exploded to the upside after that, 2.6, then 4.2. So by February of 2021 is when inflation really started to tick up. And that was right here on this vertical white line when the crypto total market cap, excluding Bitcoin, exploded to the upside. We went from roughly $300-ish billion all the way up to $1.5 trillion. And so right now with total 2, still below the previous high of November 2021 and the most recent high of like the 9th of December, we're just starting to break out right now. And so even if inflation continues to tick up month after month after month, I've said this in previous videos where that's actually bullish for the crypto market because that's bearish for the US dollar. And so even with short-term volatility during this breakout for cryptocurrencies like XRP, Bitcoin, to experience some consolidation, this does not change my thesis by the end of this year that we're going to be going much higher. Also, Trump just called on the Federal Reserve to cut interest rates by 3 points, claiming it would save the US $1 trillion per year. So in anticipation of the Fed cutting interest rates, I would expect the markets to continue to rally after the short-term consolidation phase. And when we look at Bitcoin compared to Ethereum, we can see something very interesting here. On the left-hand side of the screen, we see Bitcoin on the daily. On the right-hand side of the screen, we see Ethereum's price chart on the daily. And so when Bitcoin broke this descending resistance back in April of 2025, we squatted on top of it for a little bit before breaking upwards into this zone right here that was support back in January 2025 and resistance between February and February 25th, that entire month. So we broke back into it, about $98,000, $100,000, consolidated right below it, and then broke through a little bit past the previous high of January of 2025. and then massive consolidation phase before breaking higher. So on the right-hand side of the screen, what's happening for Ethereum? Well, Ethereum was in this downtrend since the 17th of December, 2024. It bottoms out on the 9th of April, breaks this descending resistance, consolidates on top of it like what Bitcoin did, then broke back into this previous resistance range that was support since November 2024 until it broke below it on the 3rd of February 2025. And we've consolidated beneath this for a long period of time, similar to what happened for Bitcoin. Through this range right here, it was just a lot shorter for Bitcoin. And now Ethereum is sitting at $3,061, just barely breaking above this range right here. So I think a move for Ethereum is imminent, and it's going to be happening very, very soon, back to the previous high of around $4,000, similar to what happened for Bitcoin during this phase right here between May of 2025 and the end of that month. This was a very aggressive move for Bitcoin over the course of a couple weeks, and I think this is inevitable for Ethereum because even though Ethereum's been lackluster this entire bull run, I think it is going to explode. It's still at number 2, right behind Bitcoin. Trump's bullish on Ethereum. His whole team's bullish on Ethereum. I know the guys that build World LibertyFi. They bought Ethereum around a few dollars. So they're influencing Trump to be bullish on Ethereum, obviously. So when Ethereum goes from $3,000 to $4,000, well, what's going to happen to altcoins? That's going to be the green light because as Ethereum starts to break out, we now officially enter phase 2 to alt season because phase 1 is money flowing into Bitcoin, causing Bitcoin to surge. And this has been happening for years. Bitcoin's dominance has been rising, and we haven't seen this phase overlap where money flows into Ethereum to start outperforming Bitcoin. And we hear talks of the flippening because certain altcoins in the AI sector, real world asset sector, and meme coins have moved first, leaving Ethereum in the dust. But if we look at the Ethereum to Bitcoin price chart, that tells a different story. It looks like Ethereum to Bitcoin has bottomed out. And we've talked about this in the past where all the way back here at 2019 to 2021, when Ethereum bottomed out, it started to form higher lows and higher highs until Ethereum exploded by April of 2021 to May of 2021, drastically outperforming Bitcoin. And I think that's actually what's coming next because Ethereum's been bleeding out for 4 years since December of 2021, forming lower highs and lower lows. But now that we've come back down into this zone of support that we were previously at back in 2019, and Bitcoin's dominance is all the way up here at 63%, while Ethereum to the US dollar is still below its previous highs, I think during this breakdown for Bitcoin's dominance, we're going to see altcoins like Ethereum fly. We're going to see XRP fly. We're going to see other large caps like BNB, because if you look at BNB to Bitcoin's price chart, it's telling the same story. Same with Solana, Dogecoin, even Tron, Cardano, Hyperliquid, XLM. The majority of these large caps are going to absolutely crush it only when Bitcoin's dominance drops. So we need Bitcoin's dominance to break down, and it's just barely starting to pull back a little bit. As you can see right here, back in the 20th of December 2020, when Bitcoin's dominance topped out at 73%, and then dropped all the way down here to 39%, look at Ethereum's price chart. Ethereum went from $600 all the way up to $4,600. And so Ethereum used the high of June of 2019 to squat right here by the summer of 2020, and then by October of 2020, until December 2020, it built up momentum and then exploded to the upside. So we can see Ethereum has been below $4,000 since the 4th of March. You know, we triple tapped it once, 2 times, 3 times, bottomed out right here around 1,400, and we're coming back into this zone as resistance. So I don't think that's the final stop for Ethereum. I think similar to what happened back here at the tail end of 2020, as Ethereum used this zone of resistance as support, I think that's what's going to happen for $4,000. And I think Ethereum's high for this bull run could be up to $12,000, depending on how bullish that goes and depending on how much Bitcoin's dominance drops. But that'll take place as Bitcoin's dominance breaks down by the tail end of this year or early 2026. And so you need to have an exit strategy ready for yourself. A lot of people are getting ready by learning how to earn passive income on their crypto even during a bull run, so you don't have to sell your coins. You can benefit from DeFi yields. For example, like Coinbase is only offering 4.1% rewards by holding USDC on Coinbase, but there are DeFi protocols that offer more than this, and we're going to be sharing those with you on our upcoming live event, July 20th through the 22nd, just a few days from right now, where you can safely turn your HODL portfolio into passive daily cash flow, no matter the market conditions. Through 3 live sessions, we're going to reveal the exact DeFi system that our research team uses to beat traditional market returns without watching charts all day or losing sleep over volatility. All you need to do, click the link in the description below, get your free ticket, and you can scroll down the page and see what we're going to be talking about day 1, day 2, day 3. It starts at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, July 20th. We do have a VIP section an hour before every single day. So if you guys want to attend that and discover the top stable yield pools that are currently earning 6 to 10%, some of them even higher than that, with low risk and zero technical headaches, then make sure you attend this live event before it's completely filled up. I look forward to seeing you guys there. And if you want to get access to our research team's top altcoin picks before we ever make videos about them, check out Altcoin Pro University. Go into the community section, click on altcoin picks right here, and you'll discover the top low cap and mid cap gems that are primed to experience the most liquidity injected into them when Bitcoin's dominance finally drops. That way you can position yourself first before the masses pile in. For example, our research team posted GOAT on the 13th of October of 2024 when it was right at a penny, and since then it rallied to over $1, 5,000%. That's like turning $1,000 into over $50,000. Our team called Pendle at only a $16 million market cap, or 16 cents, back on February 18th of 2023, all the way back here, and since then it's rallied up over 4,000%. That's a 40x. It's like turning $1,000 into over $40,000. Our team also called BitTensor Tau September 15th, 2022, before the token was ever even launched. And since then, Tau has rallied over 2,000%. That's a 20x. Our team even said Solana is most likely to be one of the easiest trades next year, and this was posted December 29th, 2022, on the day that Solana bottomed out at around $8. And since then, Solana looks like it's up over 2,500%. That's a 25x. It's like turning $1,000 into over $25,000. The list goes on and on and on. Our team called Sui, Ondo, and even some of the biggest cult-based meme coins like MOG back in July 20th of 2023, the day that MOG launched. So if you want to learn how our team is finding these altcoins before they explode, we just launched Altcoin Pro University, where our research team gives you real-time altcoin picks with explosive potential for this bull run, along with 100+ expert curated classes crafted by industry experts to discover these gems yourself, on top of our live weekly calls every single week for in-depth crypto market analysis and daily updates. And that's just a fraction of what we offer inside of Altcoin Pro University through the link below. And although we make no guarantees because crypto is definitely risky, guys, this is only $97 a month or $970 a year. If you want to save $194, getting 2 months for free and unlock some exclusive bonuses, just go through the link in the description below. Get in right now. Watch the 26-minute video covering everything that Altcoin Pro University offers to help you become the first millionaire in your family tree, if that's a goal of yours. And you can get started through the link in the description below right now, or you can go to bullrunners.com to take advantage of the bonuses we're giving you before they expire. Everyone is loving the community. They're loving the education. They're getting access to real-time altcoin picks first before we ever make videos about them. So click the link in the description below, watch the video, and I'll see you on the inside.